Hello guys, welcome to this month's Webmaster Hangout. It looks like some of you have, instead of posting the questions on the Q&A app, you have posted it on the forum. So I think we'll just take those questions first and then go to the Q&A app.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just take Imtiaz's question first. So it says site indexing is absolutely, some URL starts with HTTP and some with HTTPS. Site indexing is absolutely okay, but backlinks are not accurate. So I'd say some people may be pointing to your HTTP and some may be pointing to HTTPS. They should resolve over time, but I'd say if you have HTTPS and HTTP, please just redirect your non-HTTPS versions to HTTPS. Is that fine?
Yeah, that is fine. But
sorry,
browsers are asking for the user location. Those are prompting that kind of alerts actually. So will that be an issue?
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, some browsers are asking for user location kind of when I implement HTTPS. So
I'm honestly not sure about that. I don't know why they will ask your why browsers will ask for user location. Maybe we can get back to you.
But that could be something very browser specific, and it should not have any effect on the search results, though.
thank you. And I have okay, from the last 15 to 20 days, I'm consistently reading about the HTTPS and HTTP.
Yeah.
So most of the people are switching to HTTPS.
Yes.
So, is that beneficial if I switch all of my URLs?
Yeah, definitely. So we've made it as a ranking signal very recently. So we are encouraging people to switch over to HTTPS because it's secure both for your users and for yourself. So there are multiple different kinds of certificates that you can put for your website. We've recently published a blog post around it, so you can just take a look through that, and you can to us if you have any questions.
Okay. And one more thing, actually the website contains different sections. Like the content section has the plain HTTP versions, and we another sections are the purely e-commerce where people can purchase our healthcare products and healthcare packages kind of thing. So for those sections, we have implemented HTTPS. So as per your suggestion, so I can proceed to HTTPS version.
Sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
Yeah, as per your suggestion, I can completely switch the entire site into the HTTPS version.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll just take care of the other questions on the comments page. But for future reference, do use the Q&A app. It's on the top right of the event page. Like if you look at that video on the top right, you can see Q&A. You can just click on that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Let me. Yeah. Dipanshu asked a question. Some URL. Sorry. Dipanshu asked a question. Some URLs listed in the sitemap have a high response time. This may indicate a problem with your server or with the content of your page. You've got this warning on your for your sitemap section in your Webmaster Tools. So this could simply be that our crawlers are for some of your sitemap URLs. It's taking. Sometimes we're experiencing issues with crawling your some particular URLs, either due to firewall blockages or server timeouts. Most probably some server errors or something. So you can just look at your server logs or ask hosting service providers for your server logs and look at the URLs that you've listed in your sitemap and see if anything's wrong.
And I think generally they should not be a big problem if the problem is not persistent. So this may sometimes happen due to various reasons at your server end. Right, the pages may get slower due to traffic or whatever, and it should fix itself most probably. If this problem is persistent, then you may want to go back and look at things.
Uh,
Himanshu has a question as well.
yeah. His question is basically why did we remove pictures from the authorship? This has been discussed extensively, and we've like told this before also. But from our internal testing, we found out that the conversion rate is not really great for the pictures.
So basically, we keep experimenting a lot to see what the best thing that we can do for our users and provide great value. And this was one of those experiments we had actually launched, and then based on a lot of data and stuff, that we realized this was not really making that big of a difference for a majority of people. So we thought we will make it a little the search results page more cleaner by removing the pictures, and I think that was the right decision to do that.
Okay, now let's look at the questions in the Q&A app. Okay. All right, we'll take the first question from Harsh. Can Webmaster Tools help us to find the exact position of a website link on a particular keyword? If yes, then how? So this is pretty straightforward. You can just go to links to your site in your Webmaster Tools, and you can select that particular keyword, and all the URLs that are listed with that keyword generally pop up, and you can go to whichever URL you want to look at, and probably do a Control F or something to just find that keyword. Hope I answered that. Girish asks, what should you focus on, page rank, page authority, or domain authority?
I think you should focus on your users, Girish. That is the first thing that comes, like, so instead of worrying a lot about all the algorithmic changes that we make to our algorithms or the various supposed factors of search engine ranking, the best thing I would advise anyone is to focus on your users, focus on providing the best possible value that you can to your users. And I think rest should follow. That is what we follow at Google, right? We focus on our users, and then we have seen this really work. Things really follow. So we would advise the same thing to you. Instead of worrying about domain authority, things like that, try to focus on users. Of course, there are a few things that you should do to make your web pages search engine friendly, increase your visibility in search. And we have a lot of resources like our help center, SEO starter guide, Webmaster Academy, etc., that we have as resources for webmasters. Please use those resources to make your web pages search engine friendly. But however, the main focus should be on your users and how you can best provide great value to users.
Okay. So the next question is from Vaibhav. Why can't we edit and add site links through Google Webmaster Tools? So site links, you can't add site links. It's algorithmically done. So you can't manipulate or you can't put probably some internal deep links from your web page onto the under your homepage for your keywords that are ranking on in our search results. But what you can do is we algorithmically pick the best possible pages that we think are important for users. That instead of just going to your homepage, that they can directly go to those particular internal pages. We try and pick the best possible search results. But if you think there's some particular result that shouldn't be there, you can demote that using Webmaster Tools. But you can't particularly select or pick and choose which URLs you want to appear in your site links. All right. The next question is from Rupam Roy. In my website, so many pagination pages are there. In Webmaster Tools, it's showing duplicate description for that pagination pages. I've given syntax like previous and next, still it's showing duplicate meta tags. Please provide me with correct syntax. So the prev and rel next is generally, that is the correct syntax, but you're probably, because those pages at the are still different pages, we expect you to provide, like Google expects you to provide different meta tags. but it's fine. It's not a ranking issue there, because at the end of the day, we are trying to serve users only one particular page for your website, so that shouldn't matter too much.
Yes, I think so, of course. So Google is basically very good at detecting these pagination pages because they are one of the most common things on the internet, right? Any website would have, and not everyone is savvy to like include specific codes in their web pages to indicate those things. So Google is like really good, but if you can, to mention those tags that Ashish mentioned.
But again, like I said, duplicate meta tags are not a big issue.
Yes.
So another question from Girish: is drop in search trends affect keywords rankings? Sorry, I'm not sure like what exactly this question means. So
yeah, Girish, if you can clarify a bit as to what do you mean by drop in search trends, that will really help. We will come back to this question.
Imtiaz asks, Googlebot can't access your site notification. Okay, you're getting Googlebot can't access your site notification. I maintain multiple websites. All these websites are hosted on different servers. I frequently see this notification, in spite of perfect robots.txt and 99.9 server time. So we generally try and avoid sending notifications if it's just intermittent issues, because we understand that there could be once or twice we could fail in reaching your website. But if you're consistently seeing this, there is probably some issue on your server side. We can't really look at what exactly that issue is, but all we can say from our side is that we are facing trouble accessing your pages because we are receiving some kind of 500 errors. All you can do is like go to your hosting service provider and check this. We provide uh, uh, we provide other information in our messages. So when, like, say for a week or 2 weeks before the message comes, you can just check your server logs and with the help of your hosting service provider and see what is like some particular issues are occurring with your site's URLs.
So sometimes when you open your website in a browser, you may see it like loading very quickly and without any problems, but it doesn't mean that your pages your pages are being able to access by Googlebot as well, right? So Googlebot may be having some issues accessing your pages, maybe some firewall, something is blocking Google's IP addresses or whatever. So those kind of problems may also happen. So it is a good idea to go back to your hosting provider and actually dig into the problem.
Yeah, you can simply you can use there are external tools like Web Sniffer, or you can simply use Fetches Google in Webmaster Tools to just check if some particular pages are being accessible properly or not. Okay, Girish asks, what can be the reasons of down in keyword rankings for a website if the search trend of a keyword is down? So you're asking if for a particular keyword your search results or rankings are going down, uh, or if the search trend of a keyword is down at any point of time, will it affect the website business? Oh yeah, okay, I understand the question. So if say if a particular website is selling PS3 games, and if search trends for PS3 games have gone down and Xbox games have gone up, will it affect the website like ranking and those things? Yeah, probably. I mean, if someone's searching for games and like if more people are searching for Xbox instead of PS3, and if your site focuses on PS3, it's natural that we'll try and serve the results that people are looking for. And if less people are looking for the content on your website, then the rankings may be hit. But that's totally up to the content of your website, right? So what people are searching for, that we can't really control. What you can do is like try and rank for your particular keyword as well as you can by providing the best content possible. Does that make sense?
Yep, I think so. Basically, yeah, the volume of searches may affect your business in some ways, but the position of pages, how they are ranked, that should not be affected.
Okay. So another question by Girish. There is a new Google algorithm update for local search named Pigeon by Search Engine Land. Anything has anyone has any experience or anything to share?
Yeah, I have no idea. So you mean to say there is an algorithmic change by search engine land? What do you mean by that? So probably you mean search
No,
engine
he's
land
saying Search Engine Land
has mentioned
reported.
about,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, very frankly, I don't think we have anything at this point in time.
Charles asks, do you think using 2 or 3 hyperlinks in a blog article is spamming if they're relevant? So if they're relevant, you can use as many as you like. I mean, if you because links by themselves are not really annoying to the users, and if you think a particular link is useful, you could have a blog post about top 10 cameras that you think, list of top 10 cameras, and you can always link to each of that camera's home website or product page on Amazon, or that like Canon's product page or Nikon's product page. So that's totally fine. If they're relevant, there's nothing wrong with it. But again, on the other hand, if it's intentionally, if those links are just to manipulate page rank, that is an issue. Next, Imtiaz asks, do we need to claim all versions of our domain in Webmaster Tools? Yes, it's very important to just verify all versions of your site in Webmaster Tools. And if you are managing certain subdomains separately, it's good to verify them also separately in Webmaster Tools, because you get different data just for those particular subdomains. Oh, sorry. Looks like someone muted us in between. Can you hear us now? I hope you can hear us now. So let me just go back to the previous questions that have been answered. One second. Okay. So sorry. We're not sure which questions you didn't hear, but I'll just answer the last question and start answering the unanswered questions from now on. Sorry about that. Rupam asks how to submit sitemaps for subdomains. In my server, only one root folder is there, so I can't upload sitemaps for subdomains. Just give me a suggestion how to add. Uh, like I said previously, you can have a single sitemap for both your main domain and subdomains, or you can even have a single sitemap for multiple different domains also. The only thing that you need to do is to verify all those different versions of your site of all the subdomains and the other domains in Webmaster Tools. As long as you verify those domains, you can submit one single sitemap for all those URLs. Or if you want to submit a sitemap just for that subdomain, you can simply verify that subdomain and submit a sitemap for that particular subdomain separately. Okay, so Imtiaz asks, do we need to claim all versions of domain in Webmaster Tools? Is this helpful for SEO? I thought I answered this, but yes, you definitely need to verify all versions of your site in Webmaster Tools. That's definitely helpful because if you have say if you have sometimes your URLs may like canonical version of your URLs may change because you may have made a particular change or someone else like your redirects have probably gone awry, then you can just look it up in Webmaster Tools and simply select your preferred version if you have all the different versions verified. Um, okay. Deepak asks, if we have a category on site and getting most of our traffic from this category, but if we create a new website and location for this category, but no links anywhere on the site for this category, um, can we get the same traffic from the same category? So you're saying if you have, say, on a cars website, if you have electric cars category and you're getting most of your traffic for that, and if you create a new website and you again have an electric site category, can you get the same traffic from this for the same category? So you're basically asking if you have a different site with the same content, will you get the same traffic? It would be considered duplicate content unless I'm not understanding your question properly. So we simply pick one of the two URLs from your different sites and just put that in search results, and we'll ignore the other URL because the content is the same, right? But if you have, say, different articles under one site's categories and different articles under another site's category, then it's completely depends upon the content of those articles and like whether people are searching for those articles and if your site has the best content for those particular articles. Uh, Yeah, Tosif asks for HTTPS, is it okay if it's just on the checkout page or it needs to be implemented on the entire site? It needs to be implemented on the entire site. So there are different kinds of HTTPS certificates that you can use. There's this thing called wildcard certificate where you can simply, if you use that, you can use it for all different subdomains on your website also, right? So we'd suggest like just check for what kind of HTTPS is good for your what kind of certificate is good for your site, and based on that you can implement secure TLS on your website. But yes, it needs to be implemented on the entire website. Um, 1 second. So most of the question. Um, okay, Meenakshi asks, having many links in the footer, does it affect the page rank or page authority?
Having many links in the footer does affect the page rank or page authority. Actually, frankly, it doesn't. If you have a lot of, say, for example, internal links in the footers, that may be for navigation purposes, and those may not actually affect your authority or anything for your website. However, if you have a lot of external links, then you may want to go back and think, like, why do you have those external links in the first place? Are they helpful to your users in any way? There could be various reasons why somebody may have like some external links in their footer. So if you think they're not adding great value to your users, then you may not want to have them there. But if they are for some reason, and if they're like genuine, say for example you have you're running a product or a service online, and then you have other services which you want to link to, which users can actually jump to those websites from the footer navigation, it makes sense to have those links. But otherwise, if they are for reasons other than like navigational purposes or benefit to users, then you may definitely want to like not have links like that in your footer.
Okay. Hardial Singh asks, how can we get indexing for site having more than 7 million pages? Okay.
Yeah, so I think again, first of all, Google is very good at detecting all these pages. If you have all these pages well linked to each other within your website, if these pages are not isolated and not linked to, then it should not be a big problem for Google to discover these pages in the first place. Second page, it will be a good idea for you to submit multiple sitemaps to accommodate all these 7 million pages. So we should be able to crawl them and index them. And of course, there are some technical things that you should always keep in mind, that your pages are being are accessible, that you have your, if at all you're using logos.txt, then it is, then you have correctly put it across, and things like that, right? Some basic stuff about to ensure that your pages are, I mean, Googlebot is able to crawl and index your pages.
Okay. Kiran asks, I'm running a web magazine site. Every 5 minutes I update with a new article. How frequently do I have to update my sitemap? So, frankly, this comes under news sitemaps, because if you have, if it's a simple website with regularly updated articles, you can you can probably update your sitemap with that particular link every day. But if you have articles every 5 minutes, it comes under a news website, I guess. So you can submit a news sitemap for that. But frankly, we are not like experts with regarding Google News, so I'm not sure about that. Girish asks, why is Google FR, Google Co.in and .de showing in my referral traffic of Google Analytics? So first things first, we are not, again, not experts in Google Analytics, so not sure about, like not 100%, so don't take this answer on us, but it could simply be users visiting your site's links from like Google France and Google Germany. So if someone's searching for certain features from Google.fr and they click through to your website, it could simply be that like you're getting a certain amount of traffic from Google.fr, right? Girish asks, would you keep investing your SEO time in Google Plus now? Being a supporter of Google Plus, it's always seemed to me like the only significant social media to invest my SEO time.
Okay, so well, I wouldn't know if we would call it's investing your SEO time in social media. I mean, we know it's very obvious that social media has become a very important media tool these days, and it does really help your users and everyone else to discover your content, to engage with you, and things like that. And that is definitely useful. So I think it is a good idea to invest your time in social media, not just Google Plus, but if it could be anything where you have most of your users, whatever platform they're using, it is a good idea to engage with them. Focus on building your brand and things like that, so more people become aware about your services and products, and then talk about it, share your pages, articles, whatever you post, and things like that. And that should definitely help in the overall success of your business, I believe.
Let me just wait at the end. So, uh, Hadiel, can you mute yourself? So, unless you're asking a question. Okay. Anyway, we'll take Charles's question. I'm working on a website whose main products are refrigerators. The specification and features of the products remain same. Will it be harmful because the content is duplicate? You want to take this question?
Yeah, so of course, I mean, when it comes to products, Google understands. I mean, there are different types of contents on the internet, right? And Google treats these various types of content accordingly. And Google very well knows when it comes to specifications of certain products, be it your refrigerators, be it cars, be it mobile phones, or whatever. These specifications, I mean, would have to remain the same on all the websites that are showcasing these products. So it should not be a problem at all, because Google recognizes this is a fact that, of course, specifications will remain the same, right? However, what you should also focus on is like, what is that extra value that you can provide to your users, so that your users are more happy to see your website in search results than your competitor's website, right? So if you can focus again back on your users to provide them great value, then I think that should really help.
Yeah, because like the same product on your website could be present on like a few other websites, right? So if someone's selling a I don't know, a car, not a car, maybe a mobile phone, there could be
Refrigerators, yeah.
different websites online that are selling the same phone, and like the specifications and all those things will remain the same. So what matters is the links that are coming to those particular pages and how popular those pages are, and maybe the other things like how you promoted your page using other ads or what, and have any offers on your site or something like that. So like all of these things matter, and they could in turn indirectly push traffic for you. Hope I answered your question. But like frankly speaking, no, the specifications, just because the specifications remain same for multiple products, we will not consider that as duplicate content. Um, yeah, Girish asks, ping limit for Google. Can you tell me what the daily hourly ping limit is for certain links?
I don't think we are really aware of this. I mean, what the current limit is, and this is not a search quality question as such. So you would want to refer to the appropriate document on our website. I'm sure if they're allowing you to ping google.com, then they should also have certain limits that they have put up on the document.
How can Google know that you paid to be in a directory and then devaluate the value of your link? So we understand, like, we don't just look at each and like one particular link and decide if this link is paid or not. We have systems in place to identify on a large scale what's happening around the web, and like if anyone is trying to manipulate our search results. Based on that, we take necessary action. So from your side, just so that you don't mistakenly fall into one of our manual actions or anything like that. So we'd suggest you generally at least once a month or twice a month just take a look at your backlink profile and see if there are any unnatural links, or if someone's trying to, probably do negative SEO to your website. Just make simple checks to look at the health of your link profile.
Hello.
Hi, Tosif.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Actually, I want to know that suppose if a site is hit by panda,
Yeah.
so what are the things that needs to be done so that it comes out of the panda problem?
Okay, Tosif, for a quick reference, I would ask you to check out the blog post by Amit Singhal. That's an old blog post, and in this blog post, he discussed he mentioned about 23 questions that you can actually ask yourself and match that up with your content and see where you stand. And I think that that's a really nice blog post, and those 23 questions should be able to, those should be very helpful in determining what kind of content you have.
Yeah, and one basic thing that you can simply check is look at the content on your site, right? So if you have certain articles on your site, just look at the content and see if you think your user really benefited by that content. If they are not, like, look at how you can rewrite or change that content. Like in some cases, you'd probably have to remove some articles uh, that are not probably not of a great quality, and like restructure your site to remove certain sections of your site which are probably like not of great value to your users.
And by the way, let me also clarify this. A lot of times people think they have been hit by Panda, but that may not be true at all. Right? So your search engine ranking may fluctuate for a number of reasons. And it is, I think, not right to just think that you have been hit by Panda when you see some downfall in your search engine rankings, right? So I think it is a good idea to keep a check on these kind of things for a longer period of time. And then also, as Ashish mentioned, try to review your content and see if you like what kind of standard you're maintaining for your content and stuff like that, and try to keep improving and try to provide the best user value that you can.
Okay, thanks. Also, suppose if the pages, if it doesn't make any sense, or if I think that those are thin or shallow pages, would no indexing those pages can make a difference?
So if you think certain content is not valuable to your users and probably it is not great on your website, and it makes sense for you to remove that content from your website, or not allow Google to crawl that, because it is not helping your users, and you would also have to spend time maintaining that content and stuff like that. So it definitely makes sense. If there is some content that is not great or not useful, then of course you may want to remove that content.
Okay, thanks very much for your help.
Right, so people are asking for the link to that blog post, so I'll just paste that in the event page. Hope that's fine. Right. Let's look at the next question from Rupam Roy. Recently, we revamped our websites. Before revamping the website, we lost PageRank. Now the new website is implemented in .php. There are so many subdomains which are linked to the root domain. How to increase the PageRank and search results?
So first of all, I think from the question, it seems like you're placing too much importance on PageRank and you're worried a bit too much about PageRank. I mean, as you can imagine, PageRank is just one of the more than 200 factors we use for ranking, right? So it is, it is not all about PageRank only. There are a lot of other things that actually influence search engine rankings. Right?
Also, if you got the PageRank from our PageRank tool, we last updated it in December 2013, if I'm not wrong, and we haven't updated it since. So, like, don't take your information from there.
Right. So what you're seeing as PageRank of your pages may not actually be correct, because there is some delay between the actual numbers and when they get updated externally, right? So yeah. So PageRank is not really that important as people think, although it is like one of the things we actually consider when we rank, but it is just one of the more than 200 factors again, right? And it doesn't matter if your website is in PHP or ASP or whatever. And you specifically asked how to increase the page rank and search results. So again, I think you need not be worrying about increasing the page rank. Rather, what you should be worrying about is like how you can popularize your website using various mediums and platforms, and how you can engage with your users, build your reputation overall, and market yourself and things like that. And of course, as I mentioned in one of the previous answers, there are a few things that you should do to make your web pages search engine friendly. Please refer back to the Webmaster Academy, Google Webmaster Academy that we have, and also to Help Center to see what are some of the things that you can actually implement on your websites to make your web pages search engine friendly, right? But your primary focus, again, I think, if you keep it on providing great value to your users and follow some of the things that you should do to increase and make your web pages search engine friendly, you're in a good position. Next question.
So Ravindra asks, we have one site, ravi.com. We have two subdomains like photos.ravi and videos.ravi. If I search in Google with saying Ravi, I'm seeing only subdomain links. Why is it showing like this?
I can search in Google with brand name Ravi. Results are showing all subdomain links. Why is it showing like this? Okay, if I understood your question correctly, you mean to say you have some subdomains on your website and you search for the brand name or the name Ravi, then you're seeing subdomains as well from your website.
No, he's seeing only subdomains. So he's not probably ravi.com is not being shown. It could simply be that like most of your content is on your subdomains and they're ranking highly. So it could simply be that we are showing the pages that are ranking highly for your website when you search for your keywords. But just in case, like, just make sure ravi.com is also indexed and it's not removed, or also just make sure there's no canonicals or something that are set to your subdomains. So say if ravi.com is redirecting to one of those subdomains, then we'll assume that ravi.com doesn't have any content, and we'll pick the redirected landing page, which could be photos or video.ravi.com as the canonical. So make sure you that your homepage is properly indexed in the first place. Like, just do a fetch as Google and see that there's no issues with that. It could simply be a ranking issue where like the content on your subdomains are ranking highly compared to your main domain.
And I think primarily one of the other things you should also think about is what actually matters. Does it matter more for you to rank your homepage or the subdomain? If people are actually looking, want to see the content that is on your subdomains and that is bringing value to your users and to you as well as a business or whatever, then I think it's still fine if your subdomains are ranking higher than your homepage, right? Unless some business need that you see that your subdomain should rank more often than your subdomains, I think there is nothing to worry about in the first place.
Okay. Charles asks, does running a PPC campaign help in organic search ranking of a website? Directly, no. So, like, ads and search are separate and they'll remain so. And just because some particular person pays for ad campaign in like whatever sense, that doesn't mean it will affect his search ranking. Ads and search are completely separate. But what I meant previously was, if you get a lot of traffic because of your AdWords campaigns or whatever, those people could in turn, if they like the content on your website, they could keep returning to your website, or if they register accounts on your website, you could probably reach out to them through email, and like it could just blow up your traffic in other manners, and that could like reflect in search results in a different manner. So if people keep linking to your website because they found your website in the first place, that could reflect indirectly in search results because of the links and the other mentions for your website across the web. But directly, no, there's no relation between ads and search. I answered that. Imtiaz asks, we publish articles every day on our website. We bookmark these on different social bookmarking and social media sites. Backlinks, are they considered positive or negative? If they're relevant, they're fine. So it depends upon the site they're coming from. So there could be some social bookmarking sites that are simply spamming links and trying to manipulate search results. Links from those would be not considered. But if there are some sites that are like genuine, I'm not sure properly aware of social bookmarking sites, but if they're genuine links, then there's no reason why they shouldn't count.
Yeah, one thing I would also like to mention is, Imtiaz, if you are like trying to, bookmark your own URLs on several social bookmarking sites just because you can generate links, I think that is not a good practice.
For your homepage, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
if it's imtiazali.com and if you're bookmarking it as Imtiaz Ali, that's totally fine because
Yes.
you're just telling people that this is your site.
Right.
But if you're maybe using certain keywords or anchors and trying to bookmark it for, say, cheap refrigerators in Armenia or something, that is probably not a great idea.
Okay, we have very few minutes left.
Yeah,
so
we'll just quickly take these 3 questions and we'll close up. Thank you for joining us. Girish asks, what is broken link building? I'm not sure what do you mean by broken link building. So broken links are basically links that links to pages that don't exist anymore. So broken link building is, I assume, building links from sketchy sites, I guess. I have no
yeah,
idea.
so broken links is one thing, link building is another thing. Broken link is a link which actually is not correctly implemented, so it doesn't actually connects to the resource, and it throws up a 404. That's a broken link. So and link building is a very different thing from that. Yeah, if at all you have broken links on your website, it's a good idea to actually fix them because it will help the Google bot to in discovering your content and crawling them.
Take Charles' question. If we disallow the 404 page on our robots.txt file, is it legal or not? So if you're saying you're disallowing 404 pages in robots file, I mean legal. That's we have no idea about lawsuits and stuff, but you can disallow 404 pages, but I suggest you don't because it's you don't need to disallow them. When we crawl that page the next time, we'll simply identify that there's a particular 404 page and we'll remove it. So there's no need to disallow them. So but if you want to, I mean, you could but it's not a great practice. Deepak asks, have you answered my question? Okay, the previous question regarding categories. Deepak, so if you have same categories in different sites, it basically comes down to the content on your website. So if you have different content, then the ranking depends upon the content itself. So if you have articles on electric cars from Tesla on one site and articles from electric cars on Chevrolet on another site, it depends upon the kind of content people are searching for, and if your site has the relevant content relevant to them and better content than other sites, your site could well rank properly. Both the sites with electric car categories could rank properly. We're out of time, so I'll just take this one last question. And Girish asks, in one sentence, what is your best advice? Mine is probably build the best content for your audience, your users.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for you to keep coming to these hangouts to clarify any doubts you might have.
All right, so
great.
we're
It was,
out
I
of
think,
time.
yeah,
So
it was a great time having you all here.
Thanks
you guys
for
joining.
See you.
Yeah.
Bye.